I'll never forget that sound. The metallic snap of handcuffs closing around Karen Mallory's wrists right in front of my house. The one place I thought I'd be safe. And the way she stared at me like the whole world had flipped upside down. One minute I was just unloading groceries with my wife on a sunny Sunday, and the next, our quiet street turned into a full-blown crime scene. Squad cars strobing red and blue against the backdrop of manicured lawns, neighbors peeking through curtains, and Karen, the self-proclaimed queen of Oak Ridge Estates, being led away like the villain in her own show. But that's getting ahead of myself, because if you'd told me months ago that standing up to the HOA's most notorious busybody would drag me and my wife into a storm of lies, legal threats, and hate, I probably would have just laughed, told you Karen was just a crank with too much time on her hands. Turns out, I didn't know the half of it. See, we moved to Oak Ridge for the same reason most people do: peace, safety, some sense of community, you know? Dana and I worked hard, saved every penny, picked the place because it looked like somewhere you could put roots down. And for a while, it was neighbors dropping off homemade jam, kids waving from their bikes, that hum of a place that felt lived in but calm. All that changed the day Karen introduced herself. And it wasn't even what she said, just the way her smile never touched her eyes, how she'd talk at me but never to Dana, and the way she hovered around the HOA meetings like a hawk circling fresh meat. She had a gift for making everyone else feel just a little less welcome, a little on edge. At first, it was death by 1,000 cuts, notes about our lawn, complaints about our recycling bin, the usual HOA standards nonsense. But Karen was special. She didn't just want rules, she wanted control. You could see it in the way she'd parade around, dropping lines like, just trying to keep the neighborhood nice. But what she really meant was keeping it her way, with her people. She even bragged about knowing the sheriff and the HOA president, Mr. Barnes, like she had the power to decide who fit in and who didn't. And us? We were just the latest project on her list. I tried to brush it off. I really did. Dana, she's sharper than I'll ever be, started documenting things. Every little slight and sideways look, every friendly warning, every time Karen's car just happened to drive by. I told her she was being paranoid, but I should have listened. Because deep down, I think I just didn't want to admit how ugly people could get over something as simple as where you park your car or how many friends you have over for a barbecue. The first real fight was so stupid it still makes me laugh. We came back from the grocery store, trunk full of food, talking about what we'd cook for dinner and what we'd share with the elderly couple next door. I saw Karen's curtains twitch the second we pulled in, before I even had the second bag out. She was crossing the street, arms folded, lips so thin they almost disappeared, standing right at the edge of our driveway like she owned it. "Wow, that's a lot of food," she spat, loud enough for the whole block to hear. "Looks like you're hoarding. Maybe you should share with folks who need it." I kept my mouth shut. But Dana, she turned, cool as ice, said, "It's called grocery shopping. Karen, you should try it." That's when Karen lost it. She accused Dana of not caring about the community, started ranting about her son going hungry, a lie so obvious it was almost funny. Dana stayed calm, told her we paid for our food, suggested she do the same. I could see it, the way Karen's face twisted, like she'd just been slapped with reality. That's when the threats started. "People like you don't need that much," she hissed, her voice dripping with something I can only call hate. "You take and take. You're probably getting government handouts anyway. I'm calling the police." And she did, right there in front of us, phone to her ear, putting on the best performance of her life, sobbing, inventing a story about a suspicious woman stealing groceries and threatening her child. I'll never shake the fear in Dana's eyes, even as she stood her ground. All I could do was stand next to her, feeling useless, watching as Karen spun this web of lies that could get someone killed. 5 minutes later, the street lit up, 2 squad cars, officers jumping out like we were about to rob a bank, Karen putting on a show for anyone who'd watch. They barely looked at her. She played the victim too well. They zeroed in on Dana, ordered her to step away from the car, demanded ID, treated us like suspects in our own driveway. Mr. Barnes from the HOA showed up, smirking, acting like this was just another day of keeping order. And that's when the weight of it all nearly crushed me. Standing there, powerless, watching my wife, this woman who's given everything to serve her country, who just wanted a little peace, get treated like a criminal by people who were supposed to protect us. I started to wonder if maybe we'd made a mistake coming here, if maybe we didn't belong. Maybe Karen was right. That feeling, I don't wish it on anyone. But Dana, she wasn't built to break. She stayed calm, reached for her back pocket, slow, deliberate, pulled out her badge and held it up for everyone to see. "I'm Special Agent Dana King, Homeland Security Investigations," she said, voice steady as a rock. "This is my home. I'm being harassed by a neighbor who's filed a knowingly false report. I suggest you proceed carefully." The air shifted. The officers' faces went white. Mr. Barnes suddenly found somewhere else to look. I watched Karen's jaw drop. She went from smug to terrified in 2 seconds flat. Dana laid it all out. Every file, every note, every photo, proof of stalking, racist messages, all the little pieces Karen never thought would matter. The cops called it in, and within 20 minutes. Dana's supervisor arrived with a forensic team. They went through Karen's phone, uncovered chat logs with Community Watch friends, evidence she'd planned to get us arrested, even bragged about it. Emails to Mr. Barnes showed the HOA wasn't just turning a blind eye. They'd been helping her target us and other families for years. When they finally cuffed Karen, the silence on the street was deafening. No more fake tears, no more speeches about protecting the neighborhood, just her, sobbing. As the cops read off the charges, filing a false report, stalking, hate crimes, obstruction. Mr. Barnes tried to talk his way out of it, but the emails didn't lie. The whole neighborhood watched as the system Karen thought she controlled turned on her, and for the first time since we'd moved in, I felt like I could breathe. It wasn't joy, not exactly, more like relief. That slow, burning satisfaction you get when justice finally shows up, even if it took too long. Karen's reign ended not with a bang, but with the heavy click of a car door closing behind her. Mr. Barnes disappeared. Neighbors whispered. Some looked away. Some nodded. The HOA? Under investigation. Leadership gone. The rules suddenly didn't seem to matter as much. The only sound left was the wind in the trees, and me and Dana, standing side by side, changed, maybe a little harder, but finally, home.